والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. We continue in Bulugh al-Maram for the great illustrious Imam Al-Hafiz Ahmad ibn Ali ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahimahullah, who died 852 after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wasalam. This tremendous treatise entitled Bulugh al-Maram. We started on the date of Sunday, October the 7th, 2018. Which the time now is 3:54 p.m., which coincides with in the Hijri calendar, which is the 25th, if I'm not mistaken, the 26th, the 20, to be there. It's the 26th. Which is the 26th of Muharram, 1440 after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wasalam. And we concluded the chapter, or one part of the chapter, Kitab al-Nikah, Lillahi alhamdu al-minna, and then we continue in another part, which will be the final part will continue until it's absolutely completed, which starts in another chapter in which the great Imam Al-Hafidh bin Hajar entitled Bab Ishrat al-Nisa. Bab al-Ishra, or Ishrat al-Nisa. The chapter of Ishra, or the word Ishra in the Arabic language, or Mu'ashara, it could be both of them, it doesn't matter. You can say Ishra, the Ishra, comes from the Ashara, which means 10 in the Arabic language, but you put a kasra under the ayn, this is Ishra. Al-Ishra means how two people deal with each other, how they coexist, and how they make that what they call al-mu'ashara min al-mu'amala bayn al-shakhsayn, how two people coexist with each other, and how they deal and treat each other. So that's the meaning of al-Ishra. And how both of them have a connection and a relationship with each other. In certain affairs, you'll find, as we talked about, I think I discussed this months ago, we were talking about certain matters in our religion, walillahi alhamd, as far as the urf, or the customs of the people. Do they have its place amongst us? I mean, of course we know in certain countries, in certain backgrounds, in certain different lands that one comes from, you'll find that they have different customs, whether it be in clothes, or whether it be in certain food, or what have you, or in even certain habits. Are these affairs considered? Do they have some type of basis where Islam accepts it? We say yes, of course. Well, one can keep his custom with the condition that it doesn't oppose Kitab and Sunnah. If it opposes Kitab and Sunnah, then it's obligatory that you leave it off. But urf in the Arabic language, the customs are considered. And the urf, just for lack of better words, for example, a person sticking his feet out to the person next to or sitting in front of them. That's a custom. And I know that when I was in Saudi Arabia, this was considered a form of disrespect. Like to stick your feet, you sitting in a way and your feet is poking to or sticking out towards the one sitting in front of you, especially the one speaking. They considered that from bad manners. It was considered bad manners. Is that considered in our religion? We say yes. So one cannot say, for example, oh, that's not obligatory, there's no dalil for that. There's no dalil for Kitab and Sunnah in that. No. You will find that the scholars of Usul al-Fiqh have mentioned that the urf, that the customs do have its place in our religion, and even ahkam can be built upon it. Ahkam can be built upon the urf, upon the customs. how is this connected to what we're speaking about now? Because that was likewise be applicable within one's relationships. The certain customary things that people what? Take practice in. As long as it doesn't oppose Kitab and Sunnah. Meaning, for example, of certain forks, certain utensils people eat with, or whether they eat with their hands or what have you. All those are customs. Or, for example, washing one's hands before they eat. A person will, so no one can say, for example, oh, there's nothing in Kitab and Sunnah that it binds or is obligatory upon me to wash my hands before I eat. Who said I got to do that? What's your dalil? We say the dalil, ya akhi, is the urf. It's the customs. And if the custom calls to better akhlaq and higher mannerism and cleanliness, then it has its place and it's considered. It has its place and it can be considered. And even ahkam, rulings of the religion, can be built upon it. For example, traveling. When a person is traveling, what's considered a travel is the urf, the customs of the people. So you notice that all the ahkam of traveling is built upon what's considered a travel customarily within that people, amongst the people in that particular land. So the urf even takes place amongst coexisting between two spouses. Likewise, of course, one will have to respect certain customs if, like we said, it doesn't oppose Kitab and Sunnah. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says in His book, using this word mu'ashara, which is called, which is in the book of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, which is in the book of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, where Allah says, وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, live and coexist with them in kindness. So notice Allah used the word mu'ashara or ashiruhun, meaning from the word ishra. Ashiruhun, meaning live with them or coexist with them and deal with them in kindness. So notice Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also likewise did this in a command form. He said, وَعَاشِرُوهُنْ. So it's in a command form. So this is obligatory. That living with them or coexisting with them or treatment of them in kindness is a command that's obligatory. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded that. Because good treatment and kindness, it necessitates what they call ulfa, ودوام الارتباط بين المتعاشرين. It will now necessitate ulfa, meaning harmony. Bring that harmony and that comfort, and allowing the connection to continue and remain between the two couples and the two spouses. And we know if mu'ashara, or good treatment, or living with one in kindness, if it's lost, then the matter can become dangerous. Because what will come as a result of it is furqa, meaning that they will be separated, or they have to be separated. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants between couples, whether they be relationships in general, whether it be amongst our friends, our families, our spouses, Allah wants rectification, He wants harmony between them, not chaos. Somebody call, oh, they calling you there? Oh, subhanAllah. It sounds like someone's calling it. Somebody calling it? Yeah, it's time. I think it's time. But I thought I heard someone calling you then. I'm sorry. Oh, it comes at 4 after? Is Jaffa calling? I hear a voice. Oh, he's right here? I'm sorry. Maybe I'm hearing things. I'm sorry. طيب. From good dealings and treating a woman with kindness is that a man, of course, he takes enjoyment with his wife, whereas Allah Ta'ala commanded him, and how Allah commanded him. And notice that Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar, that he inaugurated the chapter by speaking about of what is permissible of enjoyment as far as pleasure and intimacy. So he started and inaugurated the chapter with this hadith, which we're going to explain inshallah. We're allowing the man for enjoyment and of intimacy, that it takes place in the private part, of course we know, of the woman. Whereas it is not during her menstrual cycle. It's not during her menstrual cycle. And also the affair which we're going to elaborate right now. We're going to explain it right now, which is another matter. I think he's calling it now. That's 404. Okay. I hear it. There you go. He said it. He's saying he's calling you there. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. الله أكبر الله أكبر. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتي محمد الوصير الفضيل وبعث مقام أحمد الذي وعدته. Now, so like we said, this word al-ishra is between two spouses, and it has to be within a relationship. It's unacceptable that there will be chaos in the relationships, because from the purposes of marriage is to bring what they call al-wi'am wal-wifaq, harmony, and that uns, meaning that feeling of harmony and feeling of relaxation. And also one being united and bonded with another person, whereas it brings that harmony and it brings that enjoyment and delight. And dealing and treatment of each other in the same manner, in the same light. Because that will be more a reason and a call for this to continue, meaning this type of marital life. It will last, and also it comes as a result of it. It builds families and houses and households, and unification and love. In contrast to what they call su'ul ishra, bad dealings or bad treatment. Is it a reason for now separation of families between the two spouses, of course? And what comes as a result of it is that homes will be lost. Families will be torn down. And it will be a reason also likewise for children to become lost and not to receive proper cultivation and proper nourishment, or for them not to be nurtured properly. And if the two spouses depart from each other, of course, they're not all circumstances, but in a lot of cases you'll find that the children become lost. For that we said that in the chapter, in the title itself, with the Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar that he put as a heading of Husn al-Ishra, of good dealings and good treatment, has a lot of good. Because the man, of course, will want to carry out the rights for the wife, and likewise vice versa. The wife who want to carry out the rights of the husband. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, we know in His book, like we said in that command, وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. He says, live with them and treat them and coexist with them in kindness. And also Allah ta'ala has says, وَلَهُنْ مِثُلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَلِلرِّجَالِ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةً. He says, and for them, meaning for the women, is similar to what is against them in good. And like similar for the men, over the women is a degree. So that degree, and also the rights were exchanged amongst the two spouses of what they're supposed to fulfill. All of that is part of husn al-ishra, of good dealings and good treatment. طيب, from what is called evil, ishra, evil or corruptive ishra, or good living or coexisting with one or the spouse in the household, is doing something muharram, is doing something unlawful. There's all of these actions of what a lot of our people are indulged in. May Allah ta'ala keep us all firm and forgive us and forgive them. Of all these practices of premarital relationships and dating and inboxing people, or what they call now here, what is called putting messages in people's DMs or calling or something like that, or secretly, privately giving people messages. All of these, which is a result of it, which will lead after the marriage to mistrust and dissolvement of the marriage, and mistrust especially. And from the corruption of what they call bad ishra, is what the great Imam put is also in the chapter of this first hadith. Where the Prophet ﷺ mentioned and said that the one is cursed. The one is cursed who comes to the woman in her backside. That the one is cursed is who the man or the one who comes to the woman in her anus. Just to sum up, because I have a whole risala of the great Imam, Shaykh Abdullah al-Bukhari, hafidhullah ra'ah, so I have it in my office. As there's people of desires, and they truly are the people of desires, try to say that this hadith is weak. And you'll find the great Imam al-Albani also refuted this notion. If you notice that the Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar mentioned, if you look at your books, what does it say, everyone? He says, Rawahu Abu Dawud wa Nasa'i wa lafdhu lahu. Then it says that the narrators are all reliable. However, it has a hidden weakness where it has what they call irsal, meaning that someone of the Sahabi was dropped in the isnad. Someone was dropped. Just to sum up everything, because I wanted to sum this up, because I don't want to get too deep inside the mustalahat or the terminology in hadith. Just to sum it up, this was brought to my attention by a couple of people, and I've read the book of what they were trying to use. And they say, see, all these hadith are weak. All these hadith are weak. So I don't even know why they were going deep into this. But at any rate, I said to them, if you look, all of these hidden weaknesses in these narrations are all light weaknesses. Because irsal, or what they call irsal, when one was dropped out of isnad, is a light weakness. It's not a severe weakness where the whole isnad is rejected. And you have numerous asanid like this, numerous chains, until it's raised to the degree of what they call hasan li ghayri. Until now, it is now raised to the level where it is hasan. The Imam al-Albani said it's sahih li ghayri. It's even authentic. As he put it in Silsila al-Ahadith al-Sahiha, which is in there. So it's in the authentic. So these narrations are authentic. And also, likewise, our Shaykh Abdullah al-Bukhari. Somebody say something? Shaykh Abdullah al-Bukhari also likewise had a whole book on it, bringing the authenticity of this narration. How these narrations all are authentic. All of them. So from su'ul ishra, of living with the woman and treating her in a manner that is not befitting, is to be intimate in this manner. As we know, intimacy is something legislated in our religion. And is from the different blessings that Allah has bestowed that we can indulge in to give us some enjoyment of this dunya. But however, it has to be in a manner of what agrees of what Allah has legislated. So in a man being intimate in this manner where he comes to her, in the anus, is something that is prohibited. Because we said that the first of all, ad-dubr mahal al-khaba'ith, because it's a manner that is khaba'ith, a manner or what is a place. It is a place of impurities. In contrast to the woman's private part, as we know, that is mahal al-harth, of harvest, meaning that it will bring forth offspring, and it will bring forth children, which will be the progeny, which a man will what? That he wants to earn through that intimacy, of course. There's an ayat where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat number 223. He said, Nisa'ukum harthun lakum, fa'tu harthakum anna shittum. He says, your women is a harvest for you. So go to your harvest how you will. You'll notice that Ibn Abbas, that he mentioned to this, so Allah Ta'ala says that your women are a harvest for you. Meaning that they're a place for intimacy. Meaning, as far as in the private part itself. So in the woman of her private part, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself has allowed for a man to enjoy in that manner, in which we'll discuss the other ways that a man, where it's legalized and that's legislated for a man to enjoy. But as for being intimate with a woman in the private part while she's on her mens, and also in the anus, as we said, is highly prohibited. And is unlawful, and is considered a sin from the major sins. Because it's not a place of harvest, where progeny or child will come, which Allah has legislated marriage for, to build families, and to build offspring, and to build children. And that's from the greatest goals of zawaj, of marriage, is that one try to make his progeny or his offspring continue and be everlasting as long as the human beings are here on this earth, that he wants it to continue. And that will not bring those results whatsoever. Which brings us to another affair, to let us know that if this is the case in regards to the woman, then homosexuality is for all the more reason, which is on a higher level of tahrim, which is on a higher level of prohibition. If this is in regards for a man with a woman, then what about relationships where indulged the same gender? So number one, like we said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has legislated that one can come to his wife in this manner, which is in the private part itself. Of course, because it's the place of harvest, meaning that it will bring forth, inshallah, offspring. But number two of why we say this matter is, or what we say in regards to this matter being prohibited, is because we said that place of the anus is a place of qadurat wal usakh wal najasat. It is a place of impurities and things which are najasat, are impurities, and things which are filthy, and things which are detested. And we know that Islam came in order for one to maintain his cleanliness and his purity. And that reason you'll find in a lot of different ayat, in which I'll discuss, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the people of Lut, when the people of Sodom, in which Lut was sent to the city, prohibiting them from what? This act, where the men were being intimate with the men. And they were more than different ayat. The story happened And a lot of ayats, a lot of people think, oh, it's just one ayat. No, it's about 7 ayats in the book of Allah discussing what happened with the people of Lut. So no one can now try to say that, oh, it was just, even if it was one ayat, for one ayat it would suffice the believer. But Allah Ta'ala put emphasis on it to let us know that this affair was what? Established. It is not just for a period of time, as some of the people desires from the non-Muslims. And we hate to say, even some of the Muslims now have what? Have allowed this affair to take place. In that hidden masjid that's now in Washington, D.C., where they marry 2 men off to each other, Muslim. Yes, the masjid was hidden. This happened about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. There was a masjid, they hid the masjid, where a lot of people who were practicing homosexuality were allowed to come to the masjid, and secret marriages amongst men were being performed between 2 genders, between the man and the man. From what came to me, and when I was in Washington, D.C., they said they don't know where the masjid was, nor did I have the desire to look for it. But they said that some of the Muslims had came and actually tried to shut it down. But the point of the matter is, what we're mentioning, we say regretfully that some of the Muslims now have tried to allow this affair to be what? Legalized and lawful. So it's an indication that this is considered the practice of the people of Lut, the people of the Prophet. His name was Lut. How much time we got left until the Iqamah? I think it's 4 more minutes. What time is now? Ooh. All right, we'll try to continue next class. Or we'll try to continue maybe at the Salah. Or we'll suffice with this because we had to discuss a little bit about what we're going to do next week. But anyway, sisters, inshallah, we'll continue next week, inshallah. If the sisters want, like we said, if they change their minds, just let me know before we start to now get knee deep inside the book as far as the details. But from now, this I think, inshallah, will be suitable. But if they come with some other ideas, let me know. Let me know, inshallah. But we'll stop here because I think the people have to pray. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك